Saw your bachelors backstage. You got a good batch.
Oh, really? What are they like?
Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're looking at what's fact and what's fiction in Woman of the Hour. There will be several spoilers.
The whole thing was crazy. They showed me on stage, the lights went on, and here we go.
Yeah.
Number 10. Sally Field was on the dating game. Right. Desperate for work, Cheryl Bradshaw, portrayed here by Anna Kendrick, books a gig on the dating game. Although Bradshaw has reservations, her agent insists it'll be good exposure, citing Sally Field as a former contestant who went on to bigger things.
She's not totally wrong. But still, it just feels...
Beneath you?
Between starring in the short-lived sitcom Gidget and the more successful The Flying Nun, Field did appear on the dating game in 1966. Although she initially didn't realize it, one of the bachelors was a surf instructor on Gidget and another dated Field in high school.
Two gentlemen out of your past.
Well, who can you have? There's no one else left.
Oh yes, there's number 3 back there with his cream of wheat.
Ironically, Field wound up selecting the bachelor she hadn't met before. Field is far from the only person who found fame after the dating game, which featured the likes of Farrah Fawcett, Michael Jackson, and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Well, let's see if you understand this. Playing around.
Playing around with what?
My goodness. We might have to take a little time with you.
Number 9. Host Ed Burke. Wrong.
You're an intelligent girl. Anyone can see that. When you get on that stage, though, I don't want you to play so smart. All right? The guys are getting intimidated. You know, boys, they're babies.
Right.
So that's right. I just need you to laugh and smile just over and over.
Arriving on set, Bradshaw immediately finds herself at odds with the host of the dating game, Ed Burke. More concerned with what she's wearing rather than what's on her mind, Burke instructs Bradshaw to smile and ask simple questions. When she goes rogue, Burke has some vulgar words for her.
Do you think I went too far?
I think he thinks you went too far.
Burke is a fictional character, standing in for Jim Lang, who hosted the show throughout its original run. While they may have glasses and hairdos in common, Lang wasn't mean-spirited or condescending toward female guests like Burke. When Lang started his career in local radio, he recalled the higher-ups wanting a man to cover sports and a woman to cover dance. Lang described this as, quote, very sexist, sounding like the opposite of Ed Burke.
Well, Gloria Steinem would be proud.
Being a little hard on the boys, aren't you, Cheryl?
Oh, I think we're all having fun.
Of course we are.
Number 8. Another bachelor was suspicious of Alcala. Right.
Careful with that.
All right, thank you, gentlemen. We have some very fine parting gifts for you right out this way.
The film depicts Rodney Alcala clashing behind the scenes with fellow contestant Arnie Aslan. Bachelor number 2 was actually named Jed Mills, an actor who went on to appear in movies like Casino and shows like Twin Peaks. Meanwhile, the crude Arnie is said to be a furniture designer. While Arnie Aslan isn't meant to resemble Jed Mills, neither would want to be left alone with Alcala. Mills found Alcala to be, quote, creepy, especially when they were in the green room and he said, quote, I always get my girl. He might not have warned Bradshaw as Arnie does in the film, but Mills was right to be skeptical of Alcala. Of course, Mills couldn't have realized that he was sitting next to a serial killer.
When I think about what he said, I always get my girl, he kills him. That's what he's talking about.
Number 7. Bradshaw wrote challenging questions. Wrong. At first, Bradshaw complies with Burke's request to play nice and stick to the script. Receiving encouragement from her makeup artist, Bradshaw comes up with wittier questions that'll put the 3 bachelors to the test.
Sorry, I'm on a diet. Bachelor number 1, how's that theory of special relativity coming along? Groovy, keep at it. Bachelor number 3, what's the difference between a boy and a man?
Alcala is the only one who isn't caught off guard, knowing what Bradshaw and the audience want to hear. The real Cheryl Bradshaw didn't conceive her own questions on the spot. Rather, she asked more traditional dating game questions, keeping things upbeat and lighthearted, at least on the surface.
Bachelor number 1, I am serving you for dinner.
Oh.
What are you called and what do you look like?
For the film, Anna Kendrick suggested that Bradshaw take control of her surroundings and have some fun. While Bradshaw rebels against the sexism on set, her actions ironically bring her closer to a date with Alcala.
What are girls for?
Yeah, that's right.
I guess I'd have to say that that's up to the girl.
It's a very good answer. Oh yeah, we love that.
Number 6. Bradshaw had acting experience. Right. Woman of the Hour establishes Bradshaw as a young actress struggling to make it in Hollywood. Following her dating game guest spot, she leaves LA in the rearview mirror.
Right now, MGM is looking for an unknown brunette for this big thriller they've got, and they do want to see a swimsuit photo before you can audition. But
Yeah, I'm not going to do that.
Well, see if they can make an exception.
No, not just this audition, just all of it.
Although based on a real person, Kendrick has acknowledged that Bradshaw is, quote, the most fictionalized piece of the movie, as there isn't much public information about her. To reflect this, the film changes the spelling of her first name from Cheryl with a C to Cheryl with an S.
I always knew that I wasn't really interested in like hyper detailed accuracy. The dress I'm wearing is nothing like the dress that Cheryl was wearing, and those things really didn't matter to me.
For all the liberties taken, Bradshaw did come from an acting background. During her dating game appearance, Bradshaw was said to be a drama teacher originally from Phoenix, Arizona. Bradshaw eventually moved on from California, the dating game being her most notable screen credit.
Right now.
Right now, anytime. Right here in front of everybody, huh?
Now's the best time.
Anytime, huh?
Number 5. Alcala was Bachelor number 3. Wrong. While Alcala did indeed appear on the dating game, Woman of the Hour restructures several elements regarding his episode. Namely, the film implies that Alcala was Bachelor number 3, when in reality, he was Bachelor number 1.
Number 1, would you say hello to Cheryl, please? We're going to have a great time together, Cheryl.
From a dramatic standpoint, it makes sense for the film to introduce the other 2 bachelors before revealing number 3, who we already know is a cold-blooded killer. The film also leaves out some of Alcala's more unsettling moments from the actual episode.
Come on, over here.
Answering Bradshaw's questions, Alcala said that his favorite time was night since that's when, quote, it really gets good. He also compared himself to a banana, asking Bradshaw to peel him.
Later, Bachelor One. Later.
It sounded playful at the time, but Alcala's answers carry a more sinister sentiment now. Number 4. Alcala took photos of victims. Right. Woman of the Hour doesn't cover everything, but its depiction of Rodney Alcala is mostly accurate. Alcala attended New York University, taking Roman Polanski's class.
He's the short guy who directed Repulsion and Rosemary's Baby.
Are those movies or?
What do you mean? You're killing me. I'm trying to name drop here.
Drop away,
I'm not
man.
gonna know because you don't know who I'm talking about, so it's not as impressive.
Moving to the West Coast, Alcala had a short stint at the Los Angeles Times, although he worked as a typesetter and not a photographer. However, Alcala did convince many people that he took photos professionally. He even showed his coworkers photos of young girls, claiming their moms asked him to take them.
Now look right into the lens right here and give me that look you just gave me. Come on. There she is. Look at you, one more. You know, Farrah Fawcett, she's got nothing on you.
While some found this odd, the pictures told a deadlier story than anticipated. After the authorities caught up to Alcala, they released 120 of his photos, hoping to identify victims. As the film portrays, Alcala would often strangle and revive victims before killing them.
Whether it's for a minute or for an hour, I'd like to sit relatively close to a special girl whenever I get the chance.
Number 3. A victim's friend was in the audience. Wrong. Nicolette Robinson plays Laura, a dating game audience member who recognizes Alcala as the man who sexually assaulted and murdered her friend. Laura attempts to tell a security guard and the police, but nobody takes her seriously.
George Eliot. He's an executive producer on the dating game. Do you know where I could find him? It's very important that I speak with him.
I doubt that very much.
Why?
Because I'm George Eliot.
Although many can relate to Laura's frustrating experience, the character is fictional. It's also worth noting that before moving to California, Alcala had already been arrested multiple times, made the FBI's 10 most wanted list, and was incarcerated for over a year.
He was hired by the Los Angeles Times to work as a typesetter. He took photos at weddings, and he was a registered sex offender during all of that, and nobody ever checked.
This made it all the more shocking that Alcala not only landed a spot on the dating game, but his appearance did little to raise his criminal profile. Even if somebody had recognized Alcala from his episode, they might have hit the same roadblocks as Laura.
I did file a report in December of last year, and I don't know what else to tell. This man, he was on national television.
Look,
I don't know who you spoke with. All right?
I don't know who I spoke with either. How many times? You forget it.
Number 2, The Teenage Hitchhiker. Right. It's been theorized that Alcala claimed as many as 130 lives. The film highlights several victims, including a teenage runaway modeled after Monique Hoyt. Named Amy here, the character is seduced by Alcala, who proceeds to sexually assault her. Woman of the Hour switches around some of the locations and doesn't depict all of the atrocities that Alcala put Hoyt through. That said, Hoyt did suffer at Alcala's hands.
I'm gonna take a leak. You want something?
I'm okay.
As shown in the film, Hoyt gave Alcala the slip at a gas station and alerted the authorities. Alcala would be arrested, although his mother bailed him out. This allowed Alcala to kill at least 2 more individuals before being apprehended again. This time, Alcala would be put away for good, dying behind bars in 2021.
Alcala was sentenced to death in 2010 for 5 murders in California between 1977 and 1979.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1. Bradshaw went on a date with Alcala. Wrong. Although Bradshaw ultimately chose Alcala, Woman of the Hour adds another chapter.
I guess I'll see you in Carmel.
I mean, do you want to go somewhere now?
After the show's taping, Alcala asks Bradshaw out for drinks. Bradshaw is initially charmed by the Bachelor, but it doesn't take long for her to realize something is off.
So I guess this means we're not really meeting up in Carmel anymore?
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere with you.
Alcala attempts to corner her in the parking lot. Once several witnesses arrive on the scene, Bradshaw manages to get away unharmed. While it makes for a more intense final act, the real Bradshaw immediately got, quote, weird vibes from Alcala after meeting him face to face. Despite winning tennis lessons, Bradshaw called contestant coordinator Ellen Metzger, saying she wasn't comfortable going on a date with this, quote, very strange man. Metzger sympathized with Bradshaw, whose instincts about Alcala likely saved her life.
The question beneath the question remains the same.
All right. What's the question?
Which one of you will hurt me?
Which true crime stories do you think would make interesting movies? Let us know in the comments.
I felt looked at.
How do you feel right now?
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.